Greetings. My name is Veronica Hage, and welcome to another lecture from the 2020 Honors Chemistry Short Lecture Series. Did you know that there is a Bluetooth pacifier that can detect glucose levels in someone's saliva? Well, there is. In today's lecture, I will be talking about a product called the Binky Biosensor. This product is primarily meant to detect glucose levels in a baby's saliva. Not only is this product quick and comfortable, but it can also prevent babies from having problems with diabetes in the future. The detection of glucose. This is what I am going to be talking about today. First is my CNN article. Then, what is the Binky Biosensor? Binky Biosensor structure. How does the Binky Biosensor function? The detection process. The chemical reaction involved. Other methods of glucose detection. And the benefits of the Binky Biosensor. The CNN article that I read is called Engineered Pacifier Measures Glucose in Saliva. I will be explaining the main topics in this article. At the top of the article, it talks about some devices that measure specific parts of your body. For example, a tattoo-like wireless sensor that can measure blood oxygen levels, heart and breathing rate, and temperature. Another example would be a smart sock that can monitor heart rate and oxygen levels. All of those examples only measure physical parameters, so they created a device that measures chemistry markers. Later on, it starts saying that they made the Binky Biosensor by combining silicone nipples from the commercial pacifiers with a custom 3D printed back, which contains the electrochemical sensor. One of the most important points of this article is when it talks about the structure and the function of the Binky Biosensor. I will be explaining those more in depth in the following slides. At the end, it talks about how there may be a few challenges before the Binky Biosensor can be used in hospitals. One of them was that it could be prone to getting dirty. Scientists have a plan to add a protective coating to keep the saliva collecting chamber bacteria-free. The Binky Biosensor is a Bluetooth pacifier that detects the glucose levels in someone's saliva. It was created by Alberto Escarpa of the University of Alcalá. The Binky Biosensor is targeted to be used by babies because Alberto wanted to create a biosensor gentle enough for them. He made sure that all the electrical stuff was on the outer part of the pacifier so that it would be safer for the babies. He also wanted to make sure that it was comfortable for them. This product has been very effective as it has worked on babies and adults. The Binky Biosensor structure starts with a silicone nipple that contains a 4 mm channel. Inside of the channel is a small PVC tube that contains a series of 3 polystyrene valves shaped like pipette tips that keep saliva from flowing back into the baby's mouth. Behind the silicone nipple or the mouthpiece is a 3D printed cap. In the cap is a sensing chamber which contains all of the things involved in the detection process. The back side of the sensing chamber is connected to the electronics, which are the furthest away from the mouthpiece. On picture number 1, you can see the Binky separated. You can see where everything is placed. The second picture is a 3D design of the Binky, and you can see it from a side view. You can even see where the electronics are. The third picture is a channel in the silicone nipple, and then it zooms into the small PVC tube. How does the Binky Biosensor function? To begin with, when the baby sucks on the nipple, the tube inside of the nipple collects the saliva. After that, the saliva keeps on flowing through the tube until it drops into the sensor chamber. In the chamber is the electrocoated strip, which the saliva eventually reaches, and that's where the detection process happens. On picture number 2, you can see where everything is placed, but when they are all together. The detection process starts when the saliva drops into the chamber and it reaches the electrocoated with an enzyme strip. When the saliva comes in contact with the strip oxidizes. That reaction changes the electric current in proportion to your glucose levels. For example, if the oxidization is darker, the glucose levels are higher. The sensor used, or the method used, is called the electrochemical glucose sensor. The back of the electrode strip detects the data and sends it to a smartphone using Bluetooth signals. Electrochemical glucose sensors are used for detecting glucose with a method of oxidization. It is based on a 3-electrode electrochemical cell configuration. This method immobilizes a layer of the enzyme glucose oxidase, which is called the GOX. There are 3 general strategies for using the electrochemical sensing of glucose. One is by measuring oxygen consumption. The second is by measuring the amount of hydrogen peroxide produced by the enzyme reaction. And the third one is by using a diffusible or immobilized mediator to transfer the electrons from the GOX to the electrode. In the picture, you can see the process of the electrochemical sensing. The chemical reaction that occurs is when the saliva reaches the electrode strip and it oxidizes when the glucose touches it. As I mentioned before, it uses the electrochemical glucose sensor which contains the GOX. The enzyme becomes immobilized on the working surface using a chitosan, which is a non-toxic polysaccharide. The GOX-based biocatalytic oxidation of glucose is followed by the low-potential amperometry. Amperometry in chemistry is the detection of ions in a solution based on electric current or changes in electric current. The signal in the current increases when the saliva reaches the electrochemical chamber due to the capacity current. In the image of the graph, you can see how the current goes up when it gets immobilized because it is reacting. The Binky biosensor has many benefits. One of the benefits is that it only takes 5 to 10 minutes to get the results. It is a very easy and comfortable way for babies to get tested by this because even though it takes a very short time to get the results, you still want them to be comfortable. The Binky biosensor is now at a hospital so babies can get tested right when they are born to prevent any problems happening with their glucose levels when they're older. Another benefit is that it connects to your phone and gives you the results like a minute after you take the test. Now, I am going to be explaining 3 methods of glucose detection at home. The first method is called traditional home glucose monitoring. This is when you prick your finger with a small, sharp needle called a lancet. You put a drop of blood on the test strip and then place the strip into a meter that displays your glucose levels. The second method is called meters that test other parts of your body. This is when you do the same thing as the first one, but on different parts of your body. The results may differ from the glucose levels as the fingertip because levels in the fingertip show changes quicker. The third method is called continuous glucose monitoring. This is when you use an insulin pump to detect and make sure that all your glucose levels are good. They're not as accurate as the finger stick glucose results, but they can help you find patterns and trends in your sugar levels. Once you've figured out your glucose levels, you can check if you have diabetes. There are 2 types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is when the body's immune system destroys the cells that release insulin, eventually eliminating insulin production from the body. It is called insulin resistance. Type 2 diabetes is when the pancreas makes less and less insulin. This is called insulin deficiency. Type 2 diabetes is also a genetic thing. If you have grandparents or parents with diabetes, you have to be careful because you may have inherited that from them. In the chart, you can see how 90% of people with diabetes have type 2 diabetes. Now, I am going to be explaining 3 of the most popular tests for diabetes. Fasting glucose test measures blood sugar level after an overnight fast and has been the standard initial diagnostic method for decades. The hemoglobin A1C test measures the amount of glucose attached to hemoglobin-carrying protein in red blood cells that give blood its red color. This test was originally used to monitor glucose levels in people already diagnosed with diabetes, but it is now also used to diagnose type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. The oral 2-hour glucose tolerance test first measures your blood sugar following an overnight fast, after which you drink a very sweet solution containing a standard amount of glucose. Your blood is tested again 2 hours later. This test is typically done when diabetes is suspected but you have a normal or borderline results on a fasting plasma glucose test. My conclusion on the Binky biosensor is that all hospitals should have this because it is a very effective and fast way to detect a baby's glucose levels. It is very important for babies to get tested because they can find out if they have diabetes. It also has a very simple reaction that happens in a very short time frame. Overall, I think that this is a great product and totally worth to have. These are the citations that I used. Thank you for listening. This concludes my short lecture on the detection of glucose using a Bluetooth pacifier.